Alright, so now I want to program the screen GUIs, and the screen GUIs again are screens within the game. Okay, and the way we're going to create those is we're going to go into starter GUI, and we're going to right click, insert object, go to screen GUI right here. And then now that we have our screen GUI, we can right click that and say insert object and say frame. And then now that we have that, we can right click him and we can insert text box. Okay, actually, why don't we first position the frame in the right location, and then we'll add the text boxes. Okay, so what we want with this frame, the frame is basically a box that we can put text into. Okay, and so what we want with the frame is for it to cover the screen and for it to be transparent. So I'm going to come over here with my frame selected. I'm going to come over here to the properties, and in the background transparency, I'm going to set it to 1. And then what do I want to do? I want to set the size. I believe the size should be set to 10. Okay, so see here how it's 0, 1. Let's do 1, 0, and that's going to fill it on the y-axis, I believe. And then let's do 1, 0 for the X, and go like this. Okay, so now it's the entire size of the screen, and that's responsive. So if the screen is gigantic, meaning you have a gigantic monitor, it'll be the entire size of the screen. If it's just tiny, like you're viewing it on a tablet, then it's going to still be the entire size of the screen. Okay, so it's 1, 0, 1, 0 for the size. And then inside of the frame, you want to right click, insert object, and we're going to insert text labels. Okay, so this is going to be the first one. On the top, it's going to say congratulations, and then below it, I'm going to make another one. I'm going to have it say you've won the game. Okay, so now that we have this text label, I could say down here in, let's come up here to anchor point, and the anchor point is going to be 0.5, 0.5, hit enter, and that puts the center of the box at the location, at the position location. Okay, and so now that we have that set up 0.5, 0.5, I can come here, and for my first value I can put 0.5 and hit enter. That makes sure the center of the box is in the center of the screen. Okay, so and then over here I'm going to also do the same thing, 0.5, and hit enter, and now my box is dead center. Okay, the center of the box is in the center of the screen. So that looks kind of good. I guess the size, I want it to be bigger, so we can stretch it out to be as big as we want, and maybe I can make it look like that, right? And now that it's that size, I want to go back to my position, get it back to 0.5 and 0.5. So 0.5, 0, 0.5, 0. Okay, that makes sure that the center of the box is in the center of the screen, but in this case I don't want the center of the box to be in the center of the screen. Okay, so let me go back to my text label. I want it to be a little bit higher, so I am going to go to position, and here I'm going to put a number that's smaller than 0.5, like 0.3. Whoa, that's not good. Let's come back here, do 0.3 and hit enter. Okay, so that puts it a little bit higher. I can change it to 0.25, and that will put it even higher, right? So that looks good. And then I'm going to click on here, and now I'm going to change my font. So if I scroll down some, I'm going to change my font. I like Gotham Black, and I also want to text scaled, make sure that's selected so my font is bigger. I want my background to be semi-transparent black, and then my color of my font to be white. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is text color. I'm going to change that. If I click on the box here, it breaks open this little color window. I want to make it white and say OK, and that's the color of the font. And now if I go here to the background color right here, right, double click on that, change that to black. Okay, say okay. Alright, and the black and the white is kind of a little bit too strong, so I'm going to go and change my background transparency to like point. No, that's a little too weak. Let's change it to 0.7. Ooh, no, 0.3. Okay, that looks good. Yeah, let's do that, right? So we have this label, and I don't want it to say label, of course, so I could scroll down to another property called text, and in text, I'm going to say congratulations, bam, okay? Okay, so a little bit too small on our box. So again, we're going to have to go ahead and resize this thing. So let's make it a little bit wider, like that. Okay, but because we did that, we need to go back to the position and change it back to 0.5 and 0.25. Okay, there we go. So that looks good. And then I'm going to take this text label and I'm going to Command D and duplicate it. Okay. And I'm going to go down to the position, and instead of having it be 0.25, that means it's higher up than the middle of the screen on the y-axis, I'm going to change it to 0.7. Oh no, that doesn't look good at all. Let's come over here, change this to 0.7 comma 0 and hit enter. There we go. A little bit too low, so I'm going to do 0.6, hit enter. Okay, there we go. And then on my text, if I go down to text, I can make it say, what can I say? You have won the game, right? So that looks kind of okay. Let's see if I can, okay, there we go. Make it a little bit thinner and taller, possibly. Okay, there we go. Okay, like that. And now we want it to be centered, but every time we change the size of the text label, we have to go back and reset the position, right? Because the position kind of changes a little bit. So I'm going to come back over here and make this 0.5, and this one over here 0.6, I think. Okay, so that looks good, right? Okay, so what next? Well, when we play the game, it's going to show this. Okay, so what we want to do is we don't want to show this when we play the game, but we do want to show it when they get on the train. Okay, so let's first program it so that you can't see it, and one way to do that is you click on frame, the frame that contains these two text labels, and if you scroll down, we can uncheck visible. Okay, so not there, and then we can go back, and if they are on the train and they're pressing like the W key or moving forward on it, then we can come back to this frame and we could change its visible property to true, and then it'll show on the screen. Okay, so we'll do that in the next video, but let's go ahead and stop right there.